You ever notice how some people seem born lucky and others seem born to struggle? Like the deck was already stacked before they even took their first breath. Maybe you grew up in a house where money was always tight, where dreams felt like luxuries you couldn't afford, where people told you to be realistic because ambition wasn't for people like you. And maybe, somewhere deep down, you started to believe it. But what if I told you that the very thing you thought was your disadvantage might actually be the foundation of something unbreakable? Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll see your past differently. Not as a curse, but as a construction site. This is about a woman named Elena, 32 years old, works 2 jobs, one at a logistics company during the day, another cleaning offices at night. She lives in a small apartment on the edge of the city, the kind of place where the elevator doesn't work half the time and the walls are thin enough to hear your neighbor's entire life. Elena wasn't lazy. She wasn't careless. She was exhausted. Every morning started the same. Alarm at 5:45, instant coffee, a shower that never got hot enough, then the bus ride across town, staring out the window at buildings she'd never step foot inside. At work she answered emails, scheduled shipments, smiled when her manager asked her to stay late again. She never complained. What would be the point? At night after her second shift, she'd come home, heat up leftover food, and scroll through her phone until her eyes burned. She'd see people her age traveling, starting businesses, buying homes, and she'd think, how? Not with bitterness, just confusion. Because she was trying. She'd been trying her whole life, and still it felt like she was running on a treadmill that someone else controlled the speed of. One night, Elena's younger brother called. He was in trouble. Again, he needed money. Again. She said no. For the first time in her life, she said no. And he got angry, told her she'd changed, told her she thought she was better than the rest of the family now. She hung up, and for the first time in years, she cried. Not because of the argument, but because she realized something. She was 32 years old, and she had no idea who she was building her life for. The next morning, she didn't go to work. She called in sick. It wasn't a lie. She was sick. Sick of feeling like her life was something that happened to her instead of something she was creating. She walked to a park near her apartment, sat on a bench, watched people jog past, watched a man teach his daughter how to ride a bike, watched the world move while she sat still. And that's when she noticed him. An older man, maybe 60, sitting 2 benches over with a notebook and a cup of coffee. He wasn't looking at his phone. He wasn't distracted. He was just present. Elena didn't know why, but she felt drawn to him. She walked over, asked if she could sit. He smiled, gestured to the bench. Of course. They sat in silence for a while. Then he spoke. "You look like someone carrying a heavy backpack," he said. Elena laughed, surprised. Is it that obvious? Only to people who've carried one themselves. His name was Vincent. He used to be a contractor, built homes for 30 years. Now he was retired, spending his mornings in the park, sketching buildings he'd never construct. Elena told him everything. The jobs, the family, the feeling of being stuck in a life that didn't fit. Vincent listened, didn't interrupt, didn't offer cheap advice. When she finished, he asked her a question. "Do you know what the difference is between a house and a home?" Elena shook her head. "A house is just materials," Vincent said. "Wood, brick, concrete. You can build a house in a month. But a home takes intention. It takes knowing what you're building for, and most people spend their whole lives living in houses they never turned into homes." He paused. "Your life right now? It's a construction site. You've been laying bricks, but you never drew the blueprint." Elena felt something shift inside her, like a door she didn't know existed, had just cracked open. "So, what do I do?" she asked. Vincent pulled out his notebook, drew 3 boxes. "You start with 3 foundations," he said. "If you don't build these, everything else will collapse. Foundation 1, the daily blueprint. Every morning, before you do anything else, you write 3 things. Not goals, not wishes. 3 decisions. What you will build today could be as simple as, I will move my body for 20 minutes, or I will read 10 pages, or I will say no to something that drains me. But you write it. You commit. You don't negotiate. Foundation 2. The load-bearing wall. This is your non-negotiable. The one thing you protect no matter what. For me, it was my morning walk. No matter how busy the day got, I walked. It wasn't about fitness. It was about proving to myself that I controlled at least 1 hour of my day. You need to find yours. And you need to defend it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Foundation 3. The progress review. Every Sunday, you sit down for 15 minutes. You ask yourself 2 questions. What did I build this week? And what tried to tear it down? You don't judge, you just notice. Because awareness is the difference between reacting and responding. Vincent looked at her. This won't be easy. The first week your mind will fight you. It'll tell you this is pointless, that nothing's changing, that you're wasting your time, and every person in your life who's comfortable with the old you will try to pull you back, not because they're bad, but because your change reminds them they're standing still. Elena felt scared, but also awake. How long does it take, she asked. Vincent smiled. 30 days to see the foundation, 90 days to feel the walls go up, a year to live in something you actually built. Elena started the next morning, her first daily blueprint. Move for 20 minutes, a walk before work, read 10 pages of anything, say no to one thing that doesn't serve me. Her load-bearing wall, 6 a.m., 1 hour before the world woke up. That hour was hers. The first week was brutal. Her body resisted waking up earlier. Her mind screamed that she was tired, that she deserved rest, that this was pointless. Her brother called again, asked for money again. She said no again. He stopped calling. Her coworker asked her to cover a shift. She said no. The coworker seemed surprised. Elena was surprised too, but she kept building. By week 3, something strange happened. She started noticing things, small things, the way the morning light hit her window, the way her coffee tasted when she wasn't rushing, the way her thoughts felt clearer after a walk. She realized she'd been living her life on autopilot for years. At work, her manager noticed she seemed different, more focused. She started finishing tasks faster, started suggesting better systems, started speaking up in meetings. By day 60, Elena had read 4 books, started a small savings account, stopped saying yes to things that made her feel small. And then, something unexpected happened. Her company posted an internal opening, logistics coordinator, better pay, better hours. Old Elena would have scrolled past it, would have thought, that's not for someone like me. New Elena applied. She didn't get it right away. She had to interview 3 times, had to prove herself, had to fight the voice in her head that said she wasn't qualified. But 96 days after her conversation with Vincent, she got the call. She got the job. The pay wasn't life-changing, but it was enough to quit her second job, enough to breathe. More importantly, she'd proven something to herself, that she wasn't a victim of her circumstances. She was a builder. She met Vincent at the park again, told him everything. He smiled. You know what the real shift is. What? You stopped waiting for permission. You stopped waiting to be chosen. You chose yourself. Elena felt tears in her eyes, but they weren't sad tears. Thank you, she said. Vincent shook his head. I didn't build anything. You did. I just handed you the tools you already had. Here's what Elena learned, and what you need to hear. Lesson 1. Poverty isn't your identity. It's your starting point. Where you begin doesn't determine where you end, but only if you stop using your past as an excuse and start using it as evidence that you know how to survive. Lesson 2. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a daily practice. The blueprint isn't complicated. It's 3 decisions, every morning, no exceptions. That's it. Lesson 3. The life you want isn't on the other side of luck. It's on the other side of consistency. Nobody's coming to save you, and that's not tragic. That's liberating, because it means you have all the power you need. So here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you do anything else, write down 3 decisions, not goals, decisions, things you will do that day to build the life you actually want. Do it for 7 days. Don't tell anyone. Don't post about it. Just build. And on day 8, notice how you feel, because the version of you that you're searching for, the one that feels strong, clear, purposeful, that person isn't hiding somewhere in the future. They're waiting in the daily blueprint you haven't written yet. So write it and start building.